There is a moment that comes quietly, often unnoticed. It arrives before any words are spoken, before the heart tightens, before the mind decides what it will say. It is the moment where something inside you pauses. You may be standing still or walking slowly or sitting alone while the world rests. Nothing dramatic happens, no sound announces it, and yet something feels different, as if the air itself is waiting. In that space, silence does not feel empty. It feels full, heavy almost, not with fear, but with awareness. Have you felt it before? It is the moment when a thought rises, asking to be spoken, but you do not answer it right away. When an emotion stirs, but you do not chase it. When the urge to react knocks gently and you simply listen. Silence has a strange way of revealing things. When nothing is said, everything becomes clearer. The breath becomes slower. The body becomes honest. The heart speaks without words. Many believe silence means nothing is happening. But inside, something very real is unfolding. In silence, you notice the weight of your feelings. Not as enemies, not as problems, just as guests that have arrived without explanation. Some are heavy, some are sharp, some are old and familiar. You do not push them away. You do not invite them closer. You simply watch. And in watching, you learn something gentle and important. You learn that not every feeling needs a voice to exist. There is a quiet strength in that realization. A strength that does not announce itself. A strength that does not demand attention. It simply stays. Sometimes they will fill the silence for you. They will speak quickly. They will assume. They will believe that the absence of your words means the absence of depth. But in this first quiet moment, none of that matters yet. This is before the noise, before the misunderstanding, before the need to explain. This is the space where you meet yourself honestly. You may notice a small tension in your chest, or a warmth behind your eyes, or a subtle ache that has been waiting to be acknowledged. Silence brings these things forward, not to hurt you, but to remind you that you are alive, that you are feeling, that you are aware. Words often rush to protect us, to defend, to justify, to escape. Silence does none of that. Silence simply holds you where you are, and for a moment, that can feel uncomfortable. But there is wisdom in staying. In this stillness, you may remember times when you spoke too quickly, times when your words carried weight you did not intend, times when reaction felt necessary, but peace was lost in the exchange. Silence remembers these things gently, without blame, without judgment. It asks quietly, was it worth it? And it does not demand an answer. It only offers a pause. In this pause, you begin to understand that silence is not weakness. It is not absence. It is presence without performance. You are not hiding here. You are not retreating. You are simply being. This is where inner power first reveals itself. Not in action, not in speech, but in restraint, in the choice to remain still when movement is easy, in the choice to listen when noise is tempting. The world often rushes past these moments. It does not wait. It does not slow down. But you can, and in doing so, you discover something quietly reassuring. You are not controlled by the first feeling that appears. You are not owned by the first thought that speaks. You are not required to answer every sound. Silence teaches this lesson without words. It teaches it patiently. It teaches it slowly. And it begins here in this quiet moment before anything else unfolds. Silence does not always remain gentle. After a while, it begins to be noticed. They notice it first. At first, it is only a glance. A pause that feels a little too long, a question left unanswered. Nothing is said, but something shifts. Silence has a way of making others uneasy, especially when they are used to noise. They begin to fill the quiet with meaning. They wonder why you did not respond, why you did not explain, why you did not defend yourself when the moment seemed to ask for it. and in their wondering, they decide silence to them must mean something is missing. Perhaps they think you did not understand, or that you had nothing to say, or worse, that you did not care. It is easier for them to believe this than to imagine a strength that does not speak. And so, the silence becomes heavy in a different way. Inside you feel it, a small tightening, a subtle pull toward explanation, the familiar urge to step forward and correct what they believe, to show them what is really happening inside you. Have you felt that pull before? It feels almost unfair. To be seen but not truly understood, to be present, yet quietly misread. There is a loneliness in that kind of moment. Even when you are not alone, you begin to notice how quickly meaning is assigned to what is not. How silence becomes a mirror, reflecting not your truth but their expectations. They may assume your quiet is agreement, or weakness, or distance, and each assumption carries its own weight. The discomfort does not come from silence itself, but from what is placed upon it, from the stories they tell themselves in the absence of your voice. Inside you, something stirs. A question forms quietly. Should I speak now? Should I correct this? Should I let them know who I really am in this moment? The temptation is strong. Words feel close, ready, waiting just beneath the surface. Because being misunderstood touches something tender. It reaches into the part of you that wants to be seen clearly, that wants fairness, that wants connection without distortion. Silence asks you to stay anyway. This is not easy. To remain quiet when your intentions are questioned feels like standing still while a current moves around you. You are aware of every emotion, every thought that rises and falls. The mind begins to explain, even if the mouth does not. You notice your breathing. You notice the way the body holds tension when it wants release. You notice how quickly a single assumption from them can echo loudly inside you. Yet even here, silence continues to teach. It shows you how much of your pain comes not from what they think, but from your desire to change it. How much energy is spent trying to manage how you are perceived. Silence holds up a quiet mirror. Do you need to be understood right now, or do you need to remain true to what you feel? They may never ask. They may never pause long enough to listen, and that realization can feel sharp at first. But something else begins to appear beneath it. A deeper awareness. You begin to see that misunderstanding is often not personal. It is simply the result of people listening through their own fears, their own habits, their own noise. They are not hearing your silence. They are hearing themselves. And this understanding softens something inside you. You start to see that explaining does not always bring clarity. Sometimes it only adds more sound to a space that needs less. Sometimes words would not heal the gap, only decorate it. Silence becomes a choice again, not a defense, not a retreat, a choice to stay grounded while others rush to conclusions. This choice feels lonely at times, quietly so. There is no applause for restraint, no recognition for holding back, no reassurance that you are doing the right thing. There is only your inner sense of alignment, and that is enough, even when it does not feel comfortable. In being misunderstood, you begin to learn where your power truly rests, not in correcting every false idea, not in shaping every opinion, but in knowing who you are, even when others do not. Silence does not remove the discomfort. It asks you to sit with it, and in sitting, something within you grows steadier, unmoved by assumptions, unaffected by quick judgments, quietly rooted in something deeper than explanation. This is the hidden work of silence, and it continues, unseen, unheard, but very much alive. At some point, something changes inside you. It does not happen all at once. There is no clear moment you could point to and say, this is where it began. It unfolds slowly, like a thought that takes its time to settle. You notice that the urge to react still appears, but it no longer feels urgent. It no longer feels like it owns you. It comes, it speaks, and then it waits. And for the first time, you realize that you can let it wait. There is a quiet relief in that discovery. You begin to see reactions for what they are, quick movements of emotion, sudden sparks that rise and fade. They feel powerful in the moment, but they do not last. They ask for attention, for release, for action. Silence does not deny them. It simply does not rush to obey. You start to observe how often reaction promises relief, but delivers restlessness. How words spoken too quickly often leave the heart unsettled. How explaining yourself again and again can quietly drain something essential from you. Have you noticed how peace rarely follows a hurried response? This understanding grows gently, without force, without effort. It settles into you like a truth you had always known but never named. You realize that not every moment is asking for your voice. Some moments are asking for your presence. Some moments are asking for your restraint. And this changes how you feel inside. The need to prove begins to soften. The need to win an unseen argument loses its grip. You notice that your worth does not rise or fall based on whether others understand you in that instant. There is a steadying feeling that comes with this, a sense of standing on solid ground while the world shifts around you. You begin to feel the difference between silence that comes from fear and silence that comes from strength. One hides, the other stands calmly, without needing to announce itself. This silence feels different in the body. The shoulders rest more easily. The breath deepens. The heart slows its restless movement. You are no longer silent because you do not know what to say. You are silent because you know that saying nothing is enough. This is where inner power reveals itself most clearly, not as control over others, not as influence or dominance, but as mastery of your own response. You notice how much freedom there is in this, how light it feels to let moments pass without carrying them forward, how peaceful it is to allow others to think what they will without chasing their approval or correcting their view. They may still misunderstand. They may still speak. They may still expect something from you. But something in you has shifted. You are no longer pulled by every expectation, no longer shaped by every assumption. You are rooted in something quieter and more stable. Silence becomes a boundary that needs no explanation. It protects your energy without closing your heart. It allows you to remain kind without becoming exposed. It keeps your center intact. You begin to trust this inner stillness, to recognize it as a guide rather than an absence. When a moment arrives, you feel into it. You listen. You sense whether words would add clarity or simply add noise. Often you find that silence carries more truth than speech ever could. This does not mean you never speak again. It means that when you do, your words come from a deeper place, a place that has been filtered through patience, through awareness, through self-respect. But most moments pass quietly now, and that is enough. You understand that power does not rush. It does not argue with every shadow. It does not prove itself to those who are not listening. Power waits. Power watches. Power chooses carefully. In this realization, there is a sense of calm that feels earned, not given. Earned through restraint, through discomfort endured without reaction, through silence held when noise would have been easier. You sit with this understanding quietly, and for the first time, silence does not feel like something you are doing. It feels like something you have become. In time, the silence settles into something steady. It is no longer something you hold with effort. It is something that holds you. The world does not become quieter. They may still speak. They may still assume. They may still move in ways that once stirred something restless inside you. But now, those movements pass through you without leaving a mark. You notice this first in small moments, a pause that no longer feels heavy, a thought that rises and fades without being followed, an old trigger that arrives, stays briefly, and then leaves. There is no victory in this, no sense of having overcome anything. There is only a gentle calm, like a still surface after a long evening. You realize that you are no longer waiting to be understood. The need has softened, almost disappeared. You are not closed to connection, but you are no longer chasing clarity from those who do not seek it. This brings an unexpected peace. Silence, once a decision, has become a home. You sit within it comfortably. You listen more than you speak. And when you do speak, there is no urgency behind your words, no sharp edge, no hidden request to be seen or validated. You have learned that self-respect does not need witnesses. It grows quietly inside through moments of int that no one else notices, through choosing stillness when reaction would have been easier, through allowing misunderstandings to exist without letting them define you. They may still believe their own stories. They may still misunderstand your quiet, but it no longer reaches you in the same way, because you have stopped measuring yourself against their perception. You notice how light this feels. There is space inside you now, space where tension once lived, space where thoughts can come and go without crowding one another, space where emotions are felt fully, but do not linger longer than they need to. You have not become distant, you have become centered. Silence has taught you how to stay present without being pulled apart, how to care without carrying everything, how to remain open without being exposed. There is a quiet dignity in this way of being. You move through moments with an inner steadiness that does not ask for recognition. You do not announce your strength. You do not explain your calm. It is simply there, like a deep root beneath the surface. When misunderstandings arise now, they feel smaller, not because they have changed, but because you have. They no longer shake your sense of self. They no longer demand an answer. You understand something deeply now. Not every silence is meant to be broken. Some silences are meant to be lived in. They protect what is fragile. They honor what is true. They allow growth without pressure. In this quiet space, you feel closer to yourself than ever before. There is no performance here, no role to play, no need to adjust your inner world to match the outer one. You are aligned. The calm you feel is not excitement. It is not relief. It is something steadier. Something that remains even when nothing else does. You breathe more easily now. You listen more carefully. You respond only when it feels right, and even then you do so without urgency. Silence has become your language of self-trust. It says, I know who I am. It says, I do not need to rush. It says, I am at peace with what is. And as you sit with this understanding, there is nothing more to reach for, nothing to prove, nothing to defend. Only a quiet strength that stays with you, unspoken, unseen, and deeply, gently enough